Okay, we are right now live streaming. Let me just make sure the streams are live on LinkedIn and Facebook. Let me check if we are indeed live. Hold on. Let's see. Yes, we are live right now on LinkedIn. Looks like it. Okay. And let me just check Facebook. Hold on. Mm-mm-mm. Yep. And we are okay. So we're live on both platforms. Okay, I really did not. Okay, good old me. Not much as far as preparation for this is concerned, as far as getting people to come, but we're just trying this out. I appreciate you both being here. More than welcome to join the conversation. Let's see if we figure out how to do this. Okay. Just as a general rule, we try to meet on Fridays at 11 o'clock to talk things that have to do with healthcare, long-term care, and really a bit about some of these platforms that we're experimenting with a bit. So I had quite a week this week. Hold on. Okay. Hold on. Apologize. I want to just see who's here. All right. Okay. So we're going to get started. Okay. So just for those who are joining right now, I see that on LinkedIn, on Facebook, in Clubhouse. This is going to be a weekly. I'm sorry about all the rambling in the beginning. But if you're on Clubhouse and you want to watch what we're doing, you could go to my Facebook profile, my LinkedIn profile, and you'll see the video of this conversation. And if you're on Facebook and you're on LinkedIn and you would like to join the conversation, meaning with your voice, not just with comments, you can head on over to Clubhouse and join the conversation there. The only thing I wanted to do but did not is to actually share the Clubhouse app on the screen for LinkedIn and Facebook. And that apparently is against the rules if you do it without the permission of the people in the room. I don't know how they know that. That's why I wrote live recording on Clubhouse, and we're going to figure this out. Okay. So there's something that I do want to address. So we know that we see all over, we see the signs that say healthcare workers work here. And the understanding, the way I understand it, and maybe some of you might see it differently, is that when we see healthcare workers work here, this is not a podcast recording, by the way. This is just, this is just a Friday little thing. Okay, so when you see healthcare workers work here, what does that mean to you? Why are we calling them heroes? Why are we announcing this to the world? So I think the simplest, in its simplest understanding, the reason why became such a movement is because working in a healthcare environment, specifically nursing homes, but hospitals that were overfilled with COVID patients, it was a very, very big challenge. Not only was it a challenge managing the patients, not only was it a challenge managing the families, managing the conditions, but in addition to that, their staff were exposing themselves to a very serious condition. They were exposing themselves to getting COVID, and there are stories of staff members that did get COVID, and some of them succumbed to the illness. So it's a very demoralizing type of environment to work in when there's a pandemic that's going around, and when people are struggling for survival, struggling to manage this condition. Then this is something that's really challenging. So in order to express our appreciation for those who are doing this, and B, I think really the B is what's more important, is it's a morale boost for those who are working in this environment, and they're doing it anyway. So this is a way of kind of keeping everything together for them and kind of keeping it, encouraging each other. Many times it's the healthcare facilities themselves, or maybe almost all the times the healthcare facilities themselves that are putting up these signs. They're the ones who are promoting themselves, if you will, some self branding, self marketing. Um, yeah, they're the ones who are doing this. So, and part, I really think that is part of the reason. Yeah, I really think that's part of the reason. I'm just trying to think if there's a way to get, just like right now in Clubhouse, if you'd like to join the conversation, you head on over to our Clubhouse room. You can just search my name and you'll find it. Maybe going forward, we would want to do the opposite of giving people the ability to join the video version if they want to join the conversation that way. All right, maybe for to figure out how to do that, to share the link. Okay, that's just a note to self. But moving right on, right, this is pretty much what it is. Now the question really is, to everybody else other than the healthcare institutions, do they really um, do we really view those who are working in the healthcare environment? Do we really view them as heroes? Do we really view them as people who are doing work that is, in a crisis, they're doing work that maybe other people wouldn't do? Is that really how we see them? So, okay, this is the point. The point is like this: we, but at least in Western society, it's not appropriate to say things that you really mean, right? So a lot of times we say things that we think we're supposed to be saying, but don't really say sometimes what we really mean. So we know that that's something we have to say. Now, if you go to a healthcare, you go to a hospital, you go to a nursing home, to any of these places, is every single person there a hero, or is every single person there because they care? Again, the goal is not to knock anybody. The goal is actually just the opposite. And I'm just, yeah, maybe because I'm working on not enough sleep. But the point is like this: I had the opportunity yesterday to spend the day in the hospital with a family member, and I got to see a significant portion, whatever, a whole bunch of different staff members, and see how they interact with the patients. And there certainly are some people there who they see it as their mission to care for others who can't care for themselves, or who, temporarily even they need some additional assistance. And there are people who, one particular person, um, retired already and is still working in the facility. It was a hospital, still working in the hospital just because they really, really cared, just because they want to help people. And those people are real heroes. Those are people who, even before COVID, those are the people who travel in the snow to get there. Those are the people who expose themselves to all other diseases, illnesses that exist, even before that. And the world needs more of those people. There are other people who are there. It might be socially accepted. It might be other reasons why they're there. But I can't say necessarily that they're there because of this deep rooted mission focused type of, um, really, it's like this is their mission. This is what they feel like they're here for. Can't say that that's always what it is, but at the end of the day, they're still doing some amazing work. Yeah, but I guess my point is two things. There certainly are some really, really special human beings that are involved in healthcare, providing healthcare, and the stuff that they do on a daily basis without fanfare, without making a lot of money, without making a lot of noise is absolutely amazing. And it's something that needs to be applauded. Something that people need to notice and need to realize that there are some really, really special people here. And when we see those signs that say healthcare workers work here, yes, it's probably the facilities that put them up there, and they should, and they need to. And it's there to ensure that the morale is where it is. It's there to ensure that things are being done the way that they should be done. It's there also for other people to realize that what we do here every day is indeed special. And like we said before, even before COVID, right, even after, um, the healthcare workers are exposing themselves to all types of risks all the time. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to merge the two things here. if anyone's in Clubhouse and wants to join the conversation, if anyone's, let's just see what we're doing here for those who are joining. If you're on LinkedIn right now, here, let me look at you. If you're on LinkedIn right now, or if you're on Facebook right now and you're listening to my little tired Friday morning rant, feel free to head on over to Clubhouse. And if you're not already there, you could send me a message on either one of those platforms and I can give you an invite to Clubhouse. And you can join the conversation there. If you're in Clubhouse and you have anything to say about this conversation, feel free to weigh in. Oh yeah, thank you for stopping by. Appreciate it. Hold on. Let me just see if anyone else should be joining us. I'm also, hold on. Also, one more thing is like this. Yeah. Also, if we want to do a different format on Friday, okay, I want it to be more conversational, not just me ranting. If there is a different format or other topics that we'd want to include, by all means. Oh wow, so we got a bunch of comments here on LinkedIn. By all means, let me know. Let me just look at these comments here. Let's see. Thomas G. Trump, healthcare workers entering a COVID unit to serve patients is akin to a firefighter running into a burning unit while others are running out. They're both heroes, but consider it a part of their jobs, but still appreciate the recognition. Both recognize that not everyone is willing to do it. In fact, many in both lines of work have and do walk away when it gets to be too much. Kudos to those who stay away and continue to fight. This is very true. Here, we could put this on the screen. This is very true. And the truth is sometimes the right thing, if someone is not cut out for this type of work, thank you for this comment, someone's not cut out for this type of work, then it probably is appropriate for someone to run away. The worst thing you can do is like if you take the metaphor of the fire and the building is on fire and you decide, I want to be the hero, I'm going to stay in the building, but I'm not really willing to help. You can get in the way and be the cause of other people will have to risk their lives to take care of you. So that's definitely a very good point. Sometimes the right thing to do is to get out of the way and let the professionals do what they need to do. So that is definitely a very good point. Robert Freeman, I'm not sure why you left a link to your healthcare chair. I guess that's just your product or service. Okay. That is amazing. Okay. So that is just one thing. My point really is just one thing, is that sometimes you can, if you're involved in the healthcare world, you have one take, you have one perspective on what healthcare is about. And then when you come on the other side and you're a patient or you're working with a patient, your perspective can change dramatically and you realize the small little things that you do can make a huge difference. I'll give you one more anecdote. This one goes back a number of years. There's actually two of them, but I'll just share one of them right now. This goes back a number of years to when our first daughter was born, and shortly afterwards ended up in Children's Hospital in Philadelphia. They were trying to figure out they're trying to figure out what was going on. The O2 numbers weren't where they should be. This goes back a bit. Anyways, the point is we were really trying to figure out exactly what was going on with her, and we were in one hospital, transferred to another hospital, and we've kind of felt like a cog in a machine. We felt like we were being pushed along from this person to this person, this process to that process, this unit to another unit, this hospital to another hospital, but didn't feel like, I guess, human beings. Didn't feel like the human touch, and add to that all the stress and the anxiety of not knowing what was really going on. It was a challenge. And then we remember there was one aide who noticed that my daughter didn't have socks and it was cold. It was the winter. It was January, whenever it was. And noticed that she didn't have socks and went to get a pair of socks. He was busy running from patient to patient, but took a moment to notice. It sounds so trivial, and I know I hear other people saying this. I probably would dismiss it as nothing, but that literally was the turning point for us in just being able to deal with the whole situation. When it was like, okay, somebody else is here for us. Someone else is noticing even the little things. And I don't know if it's ironic or not, but the facts are that shortly afterwards, they were able to attribute most of what was going on to an ear infection, which was, obviously minor with some antibiotics. And the actual problem was resolved from there. I'm not, we don't know cause and effect. I'm not saying that because what someone did, that changed everything or our attitude changed. All I am saying is that when one person is going through something that's challenging and an outsider does something which is so simple, if there's someone who does not have a family member in the hospital and they're just doing their job and they're very, very comfortable in this environment, right? It's very overwhelming for someone to go into a hospital or any other healthcare setting. If someone who's not there every day, just different rooms, hallways, rules, regulations, noises, sounds, smells. It's just it can be quite overwhelming. And if there's someone who's there who's comfortable, so for them it's not a big deal, right? For them it's really not a big deal. This is where I am. This is where I work. I know how to get to the parking lot. I know which parking lot to park in. I know where to go for lunch. I know, what all these buttons and monitors mean. I know what's a real concern, what's not a real concern. I know when to overreact. I know when to calm people down. But taking that extra second and giving that personal touch, taking that extra second and showing that they care above and beyond what is, the minimum that's necessary. Yeah, that really can make all the world of a difference. Just if you're on LinkedIn right now and you're following, we'll start with LinkedIn. Feel free to put something in the comments in regards to a particular experience that you've had, either as a recipient of such a thing or as someone, a time when you were that person. I'd really love to hear about it. Or if you don't see it, and you think it's a problem, you'd like to see more of it. But by all means, can weigh in on that as well. Okay, that's for LinkedIn. Clearly trying to figure this out. Back to Clubhouse. If anyone's on LinkedIn and would like to join the conversation in Clubhouse, I really did not ping anybody in here. If you're in Clubhouse, you think there are other people who might want to join the conversation, feel free to ping them. Hold on. Let's see. Yeah. I don't know. Ping how. I don't know. Clubhouse etiquette. I see that someone else is on. If they're off Clubhouse and pull them into the app, do you do that? Do you not do that? But the other thing is, that they're in a different room. Don't bother them. Hold on. I got locked out of my computer. Okay. That is one part of this conversation. Elliot, Faggy, anything to add to this conversation? Oh, hold on. I don't hear you. Give me 1 second. Okay, now you can speak.
Yeah, I mean, just for showing up and going to work, a lot of them do have fear in the healthcare environment that, makes them a hero. And there are definitely those. I have a sister that's in the hospital now with her baby, and she can't eat dairy, and they keep on giving her dairy dishes. And she can't really get food because she can't leave her baby behind. The way they watch her, it's very, very hard now, especially where it's very windy. I'm outside, especially now in the COVID world that hospitals are in. But there was one woman who stuck out to her, and she's like, I'll make sure that you get a salad and you don't get that dairy dish. So there are those individuals who do go the extra mile to take care of the patient's parents because they care and they're going to do that extra mile.
Okay, so you're saying that some of the people seem not to care. Is that what you're saying? They were giving dairy even though they didn't have to give dairy? Is that what was going on?
Yeah, I mean, it's very, especially now, it's very hard because both parents can't be there, and a mother's not going to leave their 2-year-old alone.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't. Sometimes I feel like they should go. Like, what? I mean, I could be wrong, and I'm not in their shoes, but there should be somebody there saying, okay, if you need to go down to the bigger room because that's what she does. She's kosher, right?
Right.
Then I'll keep an eye for your child for 5 minutes because her child's in the ICU. But a lot of them don't really go the extra mile when it really makes a big difference to the mother who can focus on the child, so the nurses don't have to be with the child the whole time. So I feel it's very important that they do chime in and say that I'll be there for the 5 minutes to go away. But there are those individuals who would do it, but it's not every day that you find that.
Right. So this is really true. First of all, if you're on LinkedIn, I see you putting some things in the comments, I appreciate it. Just comment if you were able to hear Figgy when she was talking, or if you're only hearing me. I think you should be able to hear both, but that would be a big favor if you could just put, hear her, and then I just know that it's working properly. But moving along, I think to your point is, if you're just doing your job, if you're just doing your job, so then you don't fully put yourself into the other person's shoes, right? If you're just doing your job, anything, it doesn't matter if you're in a store or if you're a stewardess or if you're in healthcare, if you work in retail, if you're not fully putting, okay, you hear both. Thank you, Lindsay. Okay, that's cool, by the way, that this works, because Faggy was talking to you on LinkedIn from Clubhouse, and to those on Facebook as well. Okay, cool. So there's a difference. Here, I'll say it a little differently. Do you have to express gratitude to the person who's selling you milk in the store? Some people will say, no, it's an exchange. I gave you currency, and what did you give me back? You gave me back milk, eggs, computers, cars, houses, whatever. I don't have to thank you for it. This is a socially accepted norm. There are rules, there are regulations. And as a result, this is a transactional type of interaction. And there are those who are providing the services, goods, or whatever. And again, we just even zoom out of healthcare in this type of way. So if they're doing that, then they don't expect you to thank them, and they don't try necessarily. I'm not talking about any particular people or anything, but I'm just saying a certain mindset is that I'm doing my job. I'm doing this because I get paid for it, and that's it. I'm doing what I need to do. Maybe I may choose. Okay, there's a lot of great comments here, Thomas. We'll get to in a minute if there's time. But I may choose a certain profession or a certain something based on what's important to me. But at the end of the day, I'm doing just a job. Those are not the people who are going to notice to put socks on an infant that's 10 days old in the hospital with overwhelmed parents. Those are not the types of people that are going to see a mother who's frustrated that her daughter, who shouldn't be getting dairy, keeps on getting dairy, or that she needs to leave for a moment to go down to the kitchen to get food because she can't get the regular meals or whatever it is. She just needs to take care of something for a minute and is stuck and feels like she can't leave her baby for a moment. And if someone say, you know what, I'm going to stop my day for 5 minutes or whatever it is, and I'm going to do that for you. And it's not always appropriate to do that. Sometimes it might be wrong to go and spend the 10 minutes there with one patient because you have a job responsibility. It's not the action of taking the time out of the day. It's not the action of putting on the socks. It's a general, and I'm not even saying right and wrong. I might just be talking about good and better. It's a general view as to why am I here. If I'm here because, people say, I'm not here for the money, right? Not here for the money. When you talk about money and healthcare, people get all like bent out of shape. If you don't pay them, they'll also get upset. But if you say that you're here because you want to get money, I was like, oh, what do you mean? I'm here because I care, because I want to provide care. It's not true. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with making the transaction. There's nothing wrong with accepting cash for eggs and milk and computers and cars and houses and everything else. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the way society needs to run. But are you doing it to care? Are you doing it because you actually care? If you're the grocer and you see that this person who usually came in and always bought 3 bottles of milk is now only buying 1, and you know that the family situation didn't change and you think that they can't afford it, are you going to try to work something out with them? If you notice that the baby doesn't have socks, you're going to try to put it on. You try to, give the overwhelmed mother, a break for a moment. Those are the types of things that make someone a real hero. And the term is abused, which is why I don't like it, because everybody's a hero. But someone who really has a selfless side to them. Like there was someone brought the example before of a firefighter. Nobody has to be a firefighter, right? And some people shouldn't be, and they shouldn't be going into fires. And this is not the right fit for their skills and temperament. And they may be good at other things. And maybe being a hero is not for everyone. Some people naturally thrive when there's crisis. They naturally thrive. They need their adrenaline pumping. Or some people are cool as a cucumber, and they can be going through crazy stuff, and they're just fine with that. Either way, what we're saying here, I guess where I'm going at here is what resonates most is the people who are truly have an element of selflessness. So the fact that somebody is a nurse is amazing and wonderful. The fact that somebody is a doctor is amazing. Is that person better than a mechanic who's fixing your car to make sure that it runs properly? I can make a case that it's not. They're both good at certain things. The mechanic knows how to keep your car running so that you can get to work and do whatever you got to do. And the healthcare provider is the mechanic for your body. Are they better because they're skilled at something else? Yes, of course. If a person's car dies, they can buy another car. If their body dies, um, as of yet, I don't think we have replacement body shops for humans, right? It doesn't work that way. So obviously, it's much more important that this should work. But does that make the person more of a hero? The mechanics were open up during, um, as long as they could at least, but sometimes even much later and longer than others. Does that make them superheroes? Or if they're there and they notice something, they notice that they go the extra step. Okay, so I guess where we're going with this is that when we talk about this term, there's an element of selflessness. There's an element of risk. But at the end of the day, it's not even so important to say this person is, this person isn't. But I think the real point is for us to recognize the selfless acts that we are receiving, to communicate that we appreciate it to those who are to our benefactors, and to in turn respond in kind that whatever we do, just because somebody doesn't work in healthcare doesn't mean that they can't be a hero or that they shouldn't in their own little world. Whatever it is that they do, whatever it is that each one of us does, whatever way we provide value, which by definition, because we're in a business, we only exchange currency for problem solved, for value added. So we can each do this in our own little way. So the point is that to just everyone's a hero, I'm a hero, you're a hero, that just cheapens what it means. And sometimes maybe this is my own little thing, but it can sound, to me, it's frustrating. Yeah, everybody's a hero, really. And what about the people who are stuck at home? What about the families that are stuck at home together? And maybe it's it's not always so pleasant on a regular day to be home together. Now they're there 24/7, or they were. That's a challenge, right? And people there in that setting, or any other type of living setting where it can be challenging to be together, and they're giving up of themselves for other people. Those people are also heroes. They may not be saving. First, they may be saving lives, but even if they're not physically saving lives, but they're giving up of themselves for other people. Let's go to some of the comments here on LinkedIn. Let's go back a little bit. Okay, let's start with, if anyone else wants to bring anything up on LinkedIn or Clubhouse or Facebook, you could put it in the comments, or if you're in Clubhouse, you could just talk about it. But hold on, I lost my mouse here. Let's go right here. Yeah, we spoke about that already. Lindsay, as senior living, actually, I should put this on the screen. So give me 1 second. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So now you can see as senior living facilities are beginning to open back up to visitors, what advice would you give to facilities to help them balance the human element for family members and still keep residents safe? So this is a good question, and I don't claim to be Mr. Answers, but we can talk about it. So the challenge is that yes, the regulations are changing, and as the regulations are changing, this is a new need to address. Is that family members are going to start coming in, and we want to make sure that the family members can continue to come in while still keeping the family members safe, keeping the staff safe, and the residents safe. So really, each facility needs to have their own protocols. Some of the state by state, they'll be offering their own guidelines, their infection control procedures, and to stick to the rules. It's okay to say no. It's okay to say that even though last year we made a birthday party for mom in the conference room, and we had everyone come up, and we had 30 people there, and it was amazing. This year we might have to limit it to 6 people or whatever's appropriate. People are excited to come back and to be with their loved ones, and it's super important, as we all know, for both ways, but specifically from a senior care perspective, it's important for the resident to have the in-person interaction. There's nothing like it. So that's definitely super important, and it should be encouraged. But again, it has to be done appropriately, and it can be done appropriately. There are screening questions, there are testing, there's giving the right environment. Sorry, giving the right environment for giving the right environment. You can give them a space. You don't have to have in-room visits. Again, I'm not right now operating the facility. This is the operations people are going to be much better at this, but it's certainly doable. As a whole, like the numbers are down in a lot of areas, and things are opening up. State by state, everyone's doing it in different levels in different ways. But yeah, it is important to work on that balance. Let me just bring up another thing here from, I don't know if I'm saying this right, Emmer Swell. Let's see. Recent read on family perception of staff. Where's the, okay, I don't know if that's a link. Let's just move on from there. Okay. It's a little thing. So here's going back to the conversation. If you're watching me on LinkedIn and I'm looking off screen here, have a little look at what it looks like in here. This is gonna be a little weird, I think. But now, yeah, that's a little weird. But this is just what I see on the camera because I moved the camera. It's going to be a little interesting. Okay, but that's where I'm looking. It's little things. Listen to the CNA who testified before a Senate hearing committee, but the lack of appropriate staffing, that she didn't have time to just hold the hands of a dying patient for a moment. She didn't want more breaks, easier workload, or anything that would make her job easier. She just wanted to give more to her patients. Hey, yeah, sorry, that hurts. Why is this the way that it is? So first of all, is she a healthcare hero? Absolutely. Is she providing the care that she has? Yes. She's going to get paid regardless if she can hold the hand of the COVID patients as they were dying. And how they got to that situation is a conversation for a different time. I'm not going to go down that road. But that's all she wanted. She wasn't asking for a pay raise. She obviously took the time to come to the Senate hearing, which is amazing. She didn't want, she wasn't asking for better PPE. She was happy to be where she was, and that's all that she wanted. So first of all, we should have more of such people because that is amazing. The real question, if you want to know, to deal with her frustration is, to deal with her frustration is painful. It really is. I'm going to take that off the screen for a minute. This is something we've spoken about in the past, and that is, why was there not enough staffing for her? Why didn't she have the assistance that she needed? In general, why is the staffing such a challenge? So COVID is a different world, and the COVID challenges are not the same as maybe some of the other challenges. From pre and post, if you will. The fact that many people who work full time in nursing homes were able to get more money on unemployment than they would get paid working and being exposed to COVID certainly didn't help. I know it sounds like something that's very generous. Let's provide them the unemployment that they need, but they really don't. Speak to operators who are struggling with staffing and they try to get people in. Like, why would I come and work and be like that person and not even be able to hold the hand of a patient while they're dying and be there for them in their last moments when so many people, died alone during COVID. It's just so tragic. Why would they do that if they're getting paid more to stay home, which is another problem? But really, the root of this problem, in my opinion, and I'm actually curious here if other people agree with this. The real root of this problem is I'm going to say it the way that it is, and it's not pretty. And some of you who have joined some of these conversations, you know this already. The real truth is that in Western society, we don't adequately respect our seniors. It's a fact. We don't adequately respect our seniors. If we did, there would be sufficient staffing. If we did, the equipment in a nursing home would look similar to the equipment in a hospital or a NICU or a children's hospital. I don't know if I've shared this here, but there was a point where I was commuting from the nursing home that I was the administrator of to the NICU in a Boston hospital to be with my son. And the contrast couldn't be more stark. Going from a nursing home where many nursing homes struggle with the basic necessities, whether it's staffing, whether it's beds that are not crank beds. Yeah, there are nursing homes that still have that. Whether we're talking about having sufficient equipment that works, that's there on time, systems that work, internet that's on, phones that are on, access to the building supplies, communication, like everything, nothing's taken for granted, and lots of things are they're expanded or extended past their intended use. And it's just a whole different world. And you come to like a NICU, it is an extreme, but it's almost like going, I don't know, from the desert to the Taj Mahal. You're going from the middle of nowhere to where you don't have anything to, a gorgeous top of the line accommodations. It couldn't be more. It could not be more stark, the difference. And if you take the same conditions, same exact diagnosis of an 84-year-old in, let's just call it a nursing home or a hospital, and you watch how we care for that person, for that human being, and then look at a 4-year-old with the exact same conditions, exact same diagnosis, and look at the surroundings, look at the environment, look at what's available to them. This has nothing to do with money. This has nothing to do with availability. This has nothing to do with resources. I know it's not pretty to say, but it's true. The reason why it looks completely, completely different is because we see a child at 4 years old as full of potential. Wow, I'm going really deep here. um, yeah, we see a child at 4 years old is full of potential, full of ability, full of promise. Maybe someone who's going to be a leader of something, accomplish something, invent something. It's amazing. And thanks for the link, by the way. I appreciate that. I do want to see yeah. You mix politics and this is going to get mixed up. But thank you, Thomas, for that. I appreciate it. But the point is that's how we see a child at that stage. If you take someone who's 84 years old, we see that they're not making money. They may not be fully aware of what's going on around them. And what use is there? Now, this gets I'm obviously Jewish and I have very strong feelings about this. but that certainly changes. I'll give you an example. I was in the elevator yesterday when I was spent the day with my dad in the hospital, and a nurse comes over to me. I didn't say anything. Oh, actually, I did. She was telling me. So she was a healthcare hero, definitely. Already retired, came back just because she cares. She actually overheard my conversation that I needed direction to another part of the hospital. She offered to walk me there, which she did. On the way, she told me how amazing the hospital is, and how the care that we're getting. If I need help with anything, so being that my experience is in long term care, I asked her if she ever worked in long term care. She started saying that long term care. Yes, she did. She started there, while during her nurse rotations, and she said that if you can make it in long term care, you can make it anywhere. Even though I've heard it, whatever, you can make it in New York, you can make it everywhere. But I've heard it, saying the opposite. If you can make it in, the emergency room, you can make it anywhere. She was saying that you have all the problems, all the challenges in long term care with limited resources, and it's almost like a field hospital. You got to figure out how to make stuff happen. If you can make it work in that environment, then you can make it work anywhere. And then without being prompted, she said, I forget exactly how she said, but she said this point that, unfortunately, us in Western society, we don't really care. But he said, I know you guys, and she points to my yarmulke, you know, um, you have a different whatever, different way of looking at this. But the point is, the bottom line is, the real truth is, it's not a politician's fault. It's not anyone's fault that staffing, resources, reimbursement for senior care is the way it is. The reason why they look the way they look is because our politicians, it makes no difference what you believe in and which political parties you sign up to. I'm saying, as a general rule, both sides are a reflection of society as a whole, in any society. And so therefore funding will be available. Okay, I'm getting way off track here, but that's kind of why it is the way it is. Cancer. Oh, this says 100%, I think. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm just seeing the time here. We're gonna have to wrap up a little bit. If anybody wants, I actually had more things to talk about, but if anyone has anything specific that you would like to cover here, by all means, you can put it in the comments, or on Clubhouse. You can join the conversation there as well. Yeah. I'll end with one other thing, as just a little bit as a side note. Sometimes it takes an outside source, an outside force, to bring out the life. In the context of this conversation, you could call it the heroism. I'm not saying that right. Heroism, whatever. To get it out of us, because as humans, we want to give. As humans, we care on a very basic level. As humans, we want to express that to other people, and we build these walls around ourselves, and we're all so guarded as to what we actually express ourselves. If you go, this is a good example, right? If you want to know the truth about anything, the truth about how someone really feels about anything, watch someone. You go into a nursing home and speak to the residents about anything, whether it's politics, whether it's the arts, if it's music, if it's religion, if it's whatever, if it's how you look today. They're going to tell you things the way they are, because the filters are gone. And the reason why the filters are gone is because they don't care. They've gotten to a point in their life where you're not going to fire them from their job. You're not someone who's going to affect they're not getting married to you. They don't. The serious life decisions are behind them, and they have a certain freedom to be exactly who they are. Many times we don't have that. And we build all these walls around ourselves, and we don't allow ourselves to fully express ourselves. Case in point is that we started a new project yesterday, a new type of, because people can't get into nursing homes and they can't see what goes on. So a lot of nursing homes are struggling that people don't choose their nursing home because they don't get to see it. So we started, we were doing a few different types of virtual tours, but I happen to be a nerd with this type of technology, and we were really working really hard to find the right way of of sharing what it's like to be in the facility, but more important, to have the emotion of caring, have the emotion of an enjoyable experience, that this is not a death waiting room. This is a place of life, and to actually be a place of life. So anyways, we're struggling to figure out how to really express that. So I had a great company that went down to one of the experiments, if you will, that we're trying. And he shared with me that when he went there initially, people in the beginning of the day, they came there at like 9 o'clock yesterday. So in the beginning, people were guarded. In the beginning, people didn't want to say what's really going on. Who are these people? He's a professional, movie director and producer. He's produced some really cool stuff. Um, so he has a way with people. But at the end of the day, by the time they left at the end of the afternoon yesterday, they had all the staff outside the building. I didn't see the the footage yet, but they were, just being themselves, letting their hair down metaphorically, and being able to truly share of what's going on, including the residents. They walked into the dementia unit, and it looked like what a dementia unit looks like. They turned on some music, and they had all the residents dancing, and it wasn't just a way of getting some great footage, which it was that too, and we're happy about that. But that wasn't the point. The point was you're able to bring some real life, you're able to bring some real enjoyment, even if just for a little bit, just for one day, to every single part of the building. So the point is that many of us might have this deep within us, and you need that outside force. It's not easy to walk into such a place and get people doing things that they're uncomfortable doing. Okay, that's the end of my rant for today. If anyone has anything else just before we wrap up, whether on Clubhouse or on LinkedIn or on Facebook, by all means, you can leave it in the comments. I actually did not check the comments on Facebook, and I apologize for that. I'm going to do that now. But in general, we meet on Fridays at 11 o'clock to talk about these types of conversations. This is the first week that I'm doing it on LinkedIn and on Facebook too. It's usually just on Clubhouse. So if this works, then if people are interested, then we could continue doing it in this way. All right. With that, I'm gonna have to sign off. Get ready for my 12 o'clock meeting. But thank you everyone for spending some time together. I really appreciate it. I think we covered some very interesting topics, started some conversations. And if you know others who might be interested, you can let them know also to tune in on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and on Clubhouse Fridays at 11. Have a wonderful weekend, and thank you for being here.